Simon Parkin. BBC Radio Somerset.
Now, it has become quite a regular story in the news. People in towns and villages all over the country left devastated by higher than average rainfall and yet another flood. It was just last week that Storm Bert, of course, caused widespread disruption across parts of the country, including Wiltshire, Gloucestershire, South Wales, causing damage to homes, shops and roads. And the experts say that as our climate continues to warm, the intensity and frequency of these extreme weather events will increase too. You don't need me to tell you that we have Storm Dara and a red wind warning for parts of Somerset in place for tomorrow. So, by sheer coincidence, Rosemary Jane from North Petherton has just brought out a book which is all about a significant rain event. It features two teenagers caught up in a disaster caused by relentless rain. Claire is here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Simon.
The book is called Deluged, and today is the day that it is out.
It's actually being launched right now.
Well, how lovely. And, I mean, for you as the writer, how does today feel?
Well, I've done this before, twice before, so it's not as magic as people sometimes think it should be.
Okay.
I enjoy the writing. I enjoy the research that goes with it. I find the promotion particularly hard work, actually.
Oh, okay. So, well, look, thank you for putting that to one side and coming in and seeing us for a bit of promotion today. The book is called Deluged, and as I said in the introduction, it involves a sort of a big rain event. And I know that you are someone who is passionate about climate change and the way that we are dealing with it.
I've been passionate about climate change for many years. One of the reasons why I grow a lot of my own food as much as I can is because I want to keep down food miles. But this story is actually basically a story about three families, one family of whom are the victims in this particular story, and the other two are the heroes of the story. And I've always felt that children and teenagers are far more able to do things than some adults give them credit for. And that's one of the reasons why they are as they are in this story. They know a lot about, they've researched the climate change situation. Well, Laura in particular has. So there are two teenagers, Laura and Dan, and they form an integral part of the story throughout. But it's actually a whole series of disasters, because as the one bridge collapses in the story, so it releases a flood, and as it works on down through the river valley, it gets worse and worse.
And it's set here in the southwest, and hopefully I don't give anything away by saying that it's set in a village that 50 odd years ago had gone through a similar sort of thing with a big rain event, and they had then put things in place to make sure that it wouldn't happen again.
They felt fairly sure that they were safe, but we know from what's happened recently, you can't guarantee that you're going to be safe. I mean, the Valencia situation has underlined that, and also Pontypridd in South Wales. When
did you decide that this was going to be the book you were going to write?
It's actually written quite a long time ago. It's actually set in 2002, the book itself. It was 50 years on from a previous disaster that had happened to the town of Torbridge before. And they thought that because of what they'd done, something like this would never happen again, but it did.
Obviously, I mean, it feels like every week we've seen news footage, like you said, Valencia. Obviously, we had the Storm Bert stuff last week. It does feel like it is becoming one of those things that just pops up on the news all the time. There is a danger, I guess, when we get used to seeing these very difficult and challenging situations, that they become less significant in the news agenda. Is that sort of part of your reason for wanting to do a book to sort of raise awareness?
I did it because I am passionate about climate change and have believed in climate change. I do think our weather patterns, we've got warnings for this weekend, haven't we?
Yeah.
So that just underlines that you can never be certain that everything's going to be fine, that all your defences are going to work.
And as I said in the introduction, the perceived wisdom from the scientists is that climate change, we used to call it global warming, which is kind of a misnomer in terms of us thinking, it's not going to be as cold as it used to be. But no, what it means is that we are going to have, whether it's snow, whether it's wind, whether it's rain events, there are going to be more and more of them.
What happens in the story is that there's really heavy rain on the moor, and it takes down the bridge that Dan's family used to actually get out into the outside world. And when Dan realises that the bridge is gone and that all of that water is now gushing down towards the river, the main river, he realises that something needs to be done because they can't get through on the phones.
Yep.
The reason for that is because the telephone exchange was literally wiped out. And so all the landlines would not work, and they all built up from there.
The research that you did in the book, because I always like to read these sort of acknowledgements when I read books, and the one of them says, particularly like to thank the Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue Service for the help and support that they gave you. Obviously, they're at the other end of disasters like this. How did they help you? What advice did they give you when you were writing this?
They put me right on certain ways that the fire service work in smaller towns overnight. For example, there are only big fire stations which have a permanent crew. Many of the smaller fire stations work on retained firefighters, and that would have been the case for Torbridge.
And Torbridge is the setting of the
it's the
story.
Setting for the town of the story, yes.
When you write a book, obviously you've got to entertain, you've got to tell a story, you've got to have great characters and all of that. Do you like putting your books in sort of real life situations, as it were?
Yes, I do. I'm, as some people will know, that I'm a chartered surveyor, and I've used quite a lot of my knowledge as a chartered surveyor to try to imagine what might well happen in this sort of situation. For a start, I understand about precast, pre-stressed concrete bridges and how they would probably react if they were thrown off their bearings and into a river, and that does actually happen in the story.
With the book, as we say, it's out today. It's not a big fan of the promotion because it has its own challenges. You are doing some promotion, so how are you going to be spreading the word about your book?
Well, I'm here with you now. I'm hoping to do an interview with Mel Everett, as long as she's okay, on Sunday. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go from there. I have my own Instagram account. I have a Facebook account. So I use some of the social media.
And you have previously brought books out. You have, I know, been in situations where you've been with people who've bought the book and you've been in sort of reading paragraphs out situations. How is that, hearing your words being said by you and then people asking questions about it?
Well, I enjoy doing that. It's just getting people to actually say, come and talk to me. I am actually doing a book reading and book signing at North Petherton Library on the 14th of December, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I just hope that a lot of people will come, or at least a few people, because I will really enjoy doing that. I actually, when Carol Course from Mickey Morgan came out, which was my first book, I actually spent a lot of time going into schools all around the country promoting it. And I absolutely loved doing that. I even drove all the way to Gateshead once.
Wow.
Just to go into a school, Harlow Green Primary School. And the children are lovely. I really enjoy talking with them. And I'm the same with teenagers as well.
And as a creative, I guess those conversations can sort of spark ideas for what might happen in the next book or the one in the future.
Well, yes, but the next book is coming out on the 21st of February, and it's a totally different sort of story. It involves computers and robots.
Okay, and again, is it a children's book, or is this...
Well, again, it's aimed at young adult fiction, but I find with my young adult fiction that because of the way I write, a lot of adults enjoy reading it as well. I mean, I think you probably read Chloe's Extraordinary Telescope.
Which was your last book. Yeah, I read that, yeah.
And I think people several adults enjoyed reading that, even though it was mainly aimed at 10 years and upwards.
I'm at page 59 of this one, so I'm getting through it. The drama is just beginning to unfold, but there were lots of seeds sown in the early chapters to sort of get me
without giving anything away. I can say that the two heroes of the story are in at the beginning of the story and at the end, and that the victims of the story are in very near the beginning and also at the end. Well,
I will keep ploughing through it when I do the sensible thing, which is stay in through this weekend, because that's what we're being told to do when we have another severe weather event. Claire, thank you so much for coming in. Claire Rosemary Jane's book is called Deluged. It is out this very day, and as I say, it sort of features an extreme weather event and the effects it has on a town in the southwest.